you know what? We're not sorry. We're not even mad. We've just moved on. It's like a breakup where one side keeps texting you up, and the other side is just busy living their best life. For decades, we were your dependable lover. Loyal, predictable, we'd pump your gas, laugh at your stupid Super Bowl ads, we'd buy your cheap cheese, we kept your border towns afloat, your outlet malls in business. But now your border guards are going through our phones, demanding we hand over our passwords, asking if we support your president, and if we give the wrong answer to this bizarre loyalty test, we're banned for life. The leaders of your country want to annex us, so we're done. We're done being taken for granted, and it's time you moved on too. This doesn't go back to normal when your circus leaves town. This is it. We're done. Probably for generations.
For decades, the US wasn't just Canada's neighbor. It was our escape. A quick drive to Target, a flight to Florida, or a road trip to Seattle. The world's friendless border defined the North American dream. But something has changed. What used to be routine now feels risky, political, even invasive. From new fingerprinting rules to border tensions and a surge in Canadian pride, millions are quietly turning away from America. This isn't just about travel, it's about identity, security, and where Canadians feel they belong in a changing world. Welcome to the Canuck Whisperer. In this video, we explore why Canadians are ditching the US and what this cold front at the border really means for our future.
If you take a look at airline bookings from Canada into the US, airline bookings, flights are down 70% year over year. And a Canadian market researcher, they conducted a poll in March, and it showed 36% of Canadians that had already booked travel to the US, they have now canceled their travel plans. 36% are like, nope, not doing it. And then, there's a bunch of others that are not even going to book. Also, I don't know if you guys remember this. I did a video about how Canadians were canceling their trips to Florida, and then they're also selling their Florida properties. This guy's name is Richard Clavitt. He's Canadian, but he moved to the US. He has since opened a bunch of different hotels and motels, and they all have Canadian themes. They basically cater to Canadian tourists. Well, Clavitt is also a MAGA man. He voted for Trump last year. And he was pretty much caught off guard that Canadians were starting to cancel their visits to his properties. He mentioned that he had one guy who called up and they had already put down $1,000 deposit. So they lost their deposit and they were like, we don't care. We're not coming. They just said, keep it. Things have gotten even worse because he said that now there's even more people canceling or they're just not making travel plans at all.
Politics has always been the undercurrent of the Canada-US relationship. But in 2025, that undercurrent feels like a riptide. Since Donald Trump's return to the White House, rhetoric about tariffs, America first, and Canada being a junior partner has reignited old resentments. Canadians aren't responding with outrage, they are responding with withdrawal. The Angus Reid Institute reports that only 10% of Canadians have made multiple US trips in the past year, half the rate of 2017. That's not a coincidence, it's a quiet political statement. And the sentiment goes deeper. Nearly half of Canadians now believe the US should be treated as a political threat, more than those who say the same about China. The politics of polarization, from abortion bans to school shootings, have also eroded Canada's admiration of American society. What used to be a cultural mirror now feels like a cautionary tale. Add to that the new fingerprinting and registration requirements for longer US stays, and suddenly, what was once a weekend getaway feels like surveillance. It's not just about Trump, it's about trust. Canadians no longer feel welcome, and that shift in perception may outlast any presidency. The takeaway: Canada isn't boycotting America, it's outgrowing it. Politically, economically, and emotionally, Canadians are redefining what independence really means.
We all know that tourism in April was down 32% from Canadians visiting the United States. It is hitting them hard. And, a lot of them talk about, and media as well, talk about that we're hurt over the tariffs. Nah, not really. Like, whatever. For me, a large part of it was, yes, the 51st state rhetoric. I'm a proud Canadian. But the bigger thing for me, I'll be honest, is that I would never visit the States now because of the fact that I probably would be snatched up by ICE, by the Border Patrol, the moment I went over. Because the content that I post, the things that I talk with friends, etc., the social media, memes and gags and all of that I have posted is very anti-Trump.
The border chill isn't political, it's financial. The Canadian dollar has hovered near 74 cents US, making every coffee, concert, and hotel south of the border painfully expensive. Add higher gas prices, inflation, and insurance costs, and many snowbirds are realizing a Florida winter now costs a fortune. Meanwhile, Canada's own tourism economy is booming. From Nova Scotia to British Columbia, local destinations are packed. According to Destination Canada, domestic tourism has surpassed pre-pandemic levels, with record bookings in Alberta, Quebec, and the Atlantic provinces. Canadians are rediscovering their own country, not out of isolation, but pride. A new generation of travelers is spending their vacation dollars in Tofino instead of Tampa, supporting local economies and indigenous tourism ventures. Many say it feels better to explore Canada's beauty than fund a nation they increasingly distrust. There's also a quiet, ethical economy at play. With American politics so divisive, some Canadians see choosing domestic travel as a moral statement, an act of solidarity with Canadian workers and values. And for retirees, the economics make sense. The cost of health insurance for US travel has skyrocketed, while Canada's own winter getaways from Kelowna to Cape Breton now offer luxury without the risk. In short, patriotism has become profitable. Canadians are voting with their wallets, and the vote is for home.
Okay, guys, there's some updates here for U.S. entry. As of December 26, 2025, the U.S. will now introduce significant updates to its border procedures that will affect how foreign nationals enter and depart the country. These measures apply to travelers from Canada and other foreign nationals. Under new Department of Homeland Security and U.S. Customs and Border Protection rules, facial recognition and fingerprint scans will be required for nearly all non-U.S. citizens at airports, seaports, and land borders.
Beyond economics and politics lies something more personal: emotion. 7 in 10 Canadians say they'll be uncomfortable visiting the US this winter. But the discomfort isn't just about fingerprinting or fees, it's about fear and belonging. Stories of Canadians being detained at airports, questioned over social media posts, or denied entry for vague reasons have created a climate of anxiety. In 2017, that might have felt like an exception. In 2025, it feels like a pattern. For many, the idea of crossing south now triggers hesitation, not excitement. Americans used to be seen as friendly neighbors. Now the perception is guarded. Yet, this moment has also strengthened something vital: Canadian confidence. In the past, we defined ourselves in contrast to America, more polite, more balanced, more inclusive. But today, Canadians are defining themselves on their own terms, supporting Canadian content, buying Canadian brands, traveling Canadian roads. This isn't nationalism, it's maturity. Canada is stepping out of America's shadows and realizing it doesn't need validation from the South to know who it is. The world's longest undefended border still stands, but emotionally, Canada is learning that borders aren't just lines on a map. They are lines of respect, and right now, Canada is redrawing them.